and welcome to this week's episode of Peanut City Police. This week we are joined by two of our school resource officers. So can you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yes, Senior Police Officer James Capehart, been in SRO for 7 years.
Master Police Officer John Lampe, been a school resource officer for about 7.5, and police officer almost 18 years.
And I'm Joan Turner, the Community Outreach Coordinator here at the Suffolk Police Department.
Well, thank you for joining us today. First, just take me through kind of what a day in the life of a school resource officer looks like. Is there a specific routine, or is every day kind of different for you?
Well, myself, I generally have a routine. I come in, speak to everybody, just walk around the school, and then I stand all the way and welcome the kids to come in, and that pretty much starts my day. Then just walk around patrol, interacting with students and staff.
Gotcha.
Pretty much the same as he. I try to get there an hour before school starts. Canvass the inside and outside of the school to make sure the kids are safe, that there's no threats. Be surprised what I find in the parking lot sometimes. Meet the kids on the bus ramp as they're coming in. That's very important that we meet the kids and see how their day is going and that type such. And then I'll go to my office, say a little prayer for the kids, read a couple Bible verses, and get my day started right. And then depending on whether I have case files and such, and meaning where I have to create paperwork where something's going to go to court, then I'll be stuck in my office, which I hate it because then I get to spend time with my kids. But otherwise, I try to be out there for the kids and just interact with them. That's the most important thing.
Thank you. Now, why did you want to become a school resource officer, Officer Capehart?
Well, becoming a police officer, I always wanted, my main goal was to work with children, was to get back to the youth. So when I came in, I always was searching for that right role that I can get back and that I can just really dive in and get my full 100% as far as with policing. And it came an opportunity to become, I was told about the position. I didn't know about school resource officers. So I was told about the position and it just fit. So I applied, interviewed, and it's been history ever since.
Good. And you, Officer Lampe?
And pretty much the same thing James said. We're there. People don't realize we're there for preventative measures. If we can prevent something from going out in the streets and confining it to school, because you need to read your kids. They're having bad days, and you go up to them, what's going on? And this could prevent something from happening out in the streets. So yes, I don't claim to be a psychologist, mental health professional, but if I see a kid that needs help, we have resources in the school to get them to the right place.
Thank you. So how did you build those positive relationships with the students?
I mean, just like Officer Lampe said, just being authentic, just being your natural self. Because the kids can see through that. They can see if you're putting on a ploy, you're just trying to put on a facade. They see right through that. And it's just being authentic, just being yourself, just being there, just being available. What I do, I tell my kids, my door is always open. If there's any issues, regardless of the nature, you can come to me, come talk to me. So it's just, just being that extra person that they can trust and rely on. So.
Thank you.
And again, James is going to concur. Our job, we're not out there, so we don't get the accolades that you would think you would get. But, it's little stuff. Just for example, there was a kid, when I made my rounds toward the end, I would see him sitting out on the bus ramp every morning, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, and he'd be shivering and cold. And, I'd offer him probably the same thing. You offer them hoodies, and sometimes you have to get them tennis shoes. And, these kids don't have, they're coming from underprivileged households. So sometimes you're a father figure to them, sometimes you're a mentor, and sometimes you just need to provide a hoodie for them so they're not going to be cold. It's sad.
Understand.
Yeah, and that kind of touched on our next question of just, anything that, certain stories that stick with you that you're like, this is why I come to work every day, this is why I do it. And I think, Officer Lampe, you just kind of really hit the nail on the head there. But Officer Capehart, do you have one kind of like that where you're, you felt like you really made an impact?
Yes, ma'am. One of our students, he came back a couple years ago, and he is the definition of a success story. He was getting in trouble a lot. Myself, community and schools, various other counselors, teachers would talk to him, try to work with him. It wasn't until he said this himself, that he got into trouble outside in the community. And that's when he woke up. And that's when it was, everything that was told to him from us started to click. And he was able to turn himself around. I believe he graduated from college, got married, really made a 180 in his life. So he came back, and he's helping, mentoring other kids in similar situations as him. So that's just one of the things, because you always don't see it, but there's probably plenty of stories that each of us can draw from, that sometimes we don't see it, but it's there.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
And you're also there to stop any dangers or any threats that may occur on the school property. Can you talk about the important role of being the first on scene when the safety of a school may be threatened, and how can you curb those dangers daily?
I'm gonna lay for him, because he's had a pretty couple situations, right?
Yes. So you're there for preventative measures. You have to be vigilant, and you have to keep your eyes open, and you have to listen to the kids. And I tell the kids when I do orientation with them and such, you're our eyes and ears. So please, they have to have enough confidence, going back to the previous question, to be able to go to you when they. And I tell them, no matter how big or little, please show. If you hear something going on in the hallways, please tell me, and then we'll bring it up to chain of command. I'll call my sergeant, or I'll let the administrative staff know. But we've had bomb threats, we've had guns in the school, we've had ammunition in the school. It goes on and on. So, and each case is a little bit different. So you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. You have to take each case a little bit different.
Yeah. And to add on to that, it's very imperative for school staff to also know what their role is when a situation occurs, from top down, from the administration to the custodian. Everyone has to know what to do and what their role is, so there's no confusion. That's the main thing that I know myself, Officer Lampe, all the extra roles, we make sure it's very clear. When a certain situation happens, these are the things you need to do. We're going to take lead, but it's also important that everyone knows where they go from there. So there's no one trying to overstep, their authority or their title.
Right.
So,
right. I like that. Thank you.
No problem.
Now, school's only in session for so many months a year. They do get a summer break. So what does policing look like for you guys outside of that when school is not in session?
Streets. Yeah, when school's not in session, some of us have an opportunity to go work summer school. So then we'll go do that. But after that, most likely we're going to be working the street back in the community.
Okay.
And I'd like to add to James. I worked the streets for 12 years, so I have the utmost respect for the officers on the street. So when I'm working the streets, I try to help them out as much as I can to get, because I know how hard it is to work on the streets. And we try to continue our education. So laws are always changing in the schools, stuff's always changing, so we do go to conferences and such like that. But you need to stay up because stuff changes on a daily basis.
Okay. Is there anything else either of you would like to add about being one of our finest school resource officers within the city of Suffolk?
I just want to say, I think, I don't want to say underappreciated. I just think not too many people know exactly what we do and the importance we bring to being in the school. So, I just want to highlight that it's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that, again, like Officer Lampe touched on, you're not going to hear too much about. You're not going to see it, but from a day-to-day basis, it's because we know for ourselves is just we're dealing with not only the student population, we also have to deal with the staff, and then the third component, the parents, the community. So it's a lot, coming at you, and especially in particular situations that you have to. Sometimes you're dealing with all three components, and then you're on your own. So, it's you. Of course, we have our our sergeant, supervision to help us, anytime we need it. But for the most part, we're it, until we ask for further assistance. So, I think that goes overlooked a lot of times when people speak about SROs. And then again, if you're good and you're dedicated to your job, people come to you. So they come to you about their problems, whether it is mostly not even law enforcement related. It's mental health. It's that person that they see in the community that they can come to and seek advice. So you're taking all that on as well. So it's a big role. It's an important role. It's one that I know myself and the rest of the SRO team take great pride in, because we're out there. We're the first ones these kids see, they interact with, and sometimes we're changing staff minds to adults' minds. Like they have a certain perception of police officers until they see us and communicate with us, and then their attitudes change. So,
thank you. MPO Lampe, did you want to add?
Yes, I would like to thank my sergeant all the way up to the chief. As James knows, this is a selection process. We didn't just get this position just by getting it. It was actually posted like any other, like SIU, detective, whatever. We have to go through an oral board. We have to put a package together to get this, so it's not just given to us. But I'd like to thank my chain of command for the opportunity to be the first line for these kids. Like I said, we're there for preventative measures so they don't get in trouble out there. But realize that we're there for the kids, and it's a great, and I'm blessed for being able to go every day. I love my job, and I love working with the kids every day.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for joining us and for what you do every day. It really is an important role, and I know hopefully the parents are happy that you're there to keep their children safe every day. So thank you for that. And thank you for everyone watching this week's episode of Peanut City Police, and we will be back next week with another episode.